This Wednesday, May 29th, MLB Betting Picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up with promo code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure that promo code MLB SGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale. 15% off of everything in the SGPN merch store with promo code SGPN May. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Tuesday, May the 28th, here to get into the picks for the Wednesday card in the MLB. Wednesday means day baseball, and we'll get into all the games that we do have lines for the MLB card on Wednesday. But joining me here to help me break everything down on the diamond, you guys know him as the voice of the Tennis Gambling Podcast, WNBA, NBA, and of course here on the MLB Gambling Podcast, Scott Reichel. Scott, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
They're doing pretty well. Can't complain. Looking forward to the games today, but we got some interesting games for tomorrow. So looking forward to breaking it down.
Yep, pretty good card for the Wednesday schedule. I know Paul Skenes is on the mound as well, going up against Flaherty, so that pretty good pitching matchup on the Wednesday card, getting it started early around 1 o'clock, 1:10 Eastern time for that game to kick us off for the Wednesday card. But yeah, full of baseball again. We did get news, I think it was last night or this morning. Everybody's favorite umpire does retire. And I think the timing of it was a little bit curious to me, but Angel Hernandez decides to retire. He is officially done. Maybe, if not the worst umpire I have ever witnessed in my life, Scott, because if you had any doubt, there was a game that he was behind home plate for the Astros game, and JP France was on the mound, and he called a strike. I think it was strike 2 and then strike 3 with those like 5 or 6 inches off of the plate, which I said, oh, yeah, good old Angel Hernandez. But yeah, one of the worst does hang it up here, Scott.
Yeah, I feel like most people only know of the bad umpires or refs in sports, and he's the most famous. So that kind of tells you need to know. He's been bad for a long time, and the fact is, I'm sure a lot of us are happy that we waited out the umpire union, and he eventually finally retired, because if they didn't have a union, he would have been fired for, I don't even know how long at this point, a decade and change, 2 decades and change. I mean, nobody thinks he's any good. He's finished, I think, last or close to last in a lot of the umpire report cards, and it's not a surprise to anybody. So I think we'd agree baseball's in a better place without Angel in it.
Yeah, anytime I think of him, there's always the Bryce Harper check swing where he called him out where it wasn't even close. And then I think the most famous one, at least for me, I think it was last season, the season prior, Kyle Schwarber, which just absolutely lost his mind. And I think that was pretty much how almost every player in the MLB feels about Angel Hernandez. But
I think the one thing that I think of is actually a game the Yankees lost to the Red Sox, and he actually wasn't even behind home plate. It was a playoff game, the year the Red Sox won the World Series. And I remember Angel was at first base, and they challenged 3 separate calls at first base, and the challengers won all 3 times. So Hernandez got 3 separate calls wrong as the first base umpire in a playoff game. That's the first thing I think of when it comes to Angel Hernandez.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. There's going to be a book that comes out, or a 30 for 30 that comes out about Angel Hernandez sooner rather than later. So I would definitely be waiting for that for sure.
I was going to say, he also had an issue, I think a couple of years ago, where he sued Major League Baseball for like racism. As like that happened. So
yeah, I remember that.
People thought that, like, I think he tried to make the argument that people were against him because of his actual heritage, when in reality it's because he's just the worst umpire anyone's ever seen. But there was some type of lawsuit going on, which I think got dismissed pretty easily, about Hernandez regarding Major League Baseball. So yeah, he has been on the hot seat for a while, but that's the beauty of unions. And he had a lawsuit pending with Major League Baseball, which ended up getting dismissed immediately. But yeah, he's had a lot of funny and really embarrassing moments over the last couple decades at this point.
Yeah, I think it was back in 2017. I just Googled it here real quick. He sued Major League Baseball for racial discrimination.
Yeah.
And that was quickly shut down by the I guess by the judge or whatever the case might have
Yep.
been. But yeah,
The judge watched a couple of baseball games and realized it had nothing to do with
probably
discrimination.
saw maybe 2 highlights. He's like, okay, yeah, this is enough. I don't need to see anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before we get into the games here, Scott, for Wednesday, hey, the college baseball tournament, it starts this Friday, and Noah Beanick has you covered with the college baseball experience, daily picks, episode, regional previews, and a bunch more. So make sure you guys get over there with Noah and the college baseball experience to get you guys ready for the college baseball tournament. And we're also running a mega Memorial Day merch sale, 15% off of everything till the end of the month. In the merch store, promo code SGPN May. Go ahead and get over to the merch store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. All right, Scott, let's get into the games here for Wednesday. We'll start it off with a really good pitching matchup. Pittsburgh Pirates, they're in Detroit. Paul Skenes takes the mound here for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I'm currently seeing it'll be Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Detroit Tigers. The lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Tigers are minus 120 on the money line, plus 102 for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Total is at 7.5 in this game here, Scott. What are your thoughts on Pirates and Tigers?
Yeah, the issue I run into with Pittsburgh is that even when Skenes pitches well, the bullpen blows the performance. So I have a hard time actually picking Pittsburgh to win games. The bullpen has not been very good lately. Detroit has been a steady team. They're at 500, give or take. Both teams kind of are. I do think I might be tempted by the first 5 under in this game. Flaherty, I think, has been fine this season. 3.84 ERA. Skenes we know for the most part, but I do think you're looking at a spot where you might see a lower scoring game early. So I don't mind the first 5 under in this one. Looking at Flaherty's last couple outings, he has allowed less than 4 earned in at least the last 5, but I want to quickly check to see how much further it goes back. Yeah, 5 straight, allowing less than 4 earned, and you're looking at his run support recently. He has gotten less than 4 runs of support in 4 of his last 5 starts, so I think you're expecting a lower scoring game. I don't mind a first 5 under potentially, but I do think avoiding the Pirates bullpen is probably the way to go. So I'll go with the first 5 under in this matchup.
Yeah, right there with you. That was the first play that came across my mind. Flaherty in particular hasn't been very good at home in Detroit. 5 starts, he's 0-3 with a 4.22 ERA. And the Tigers have lost 4 of the last 5 starts that he has made. And he'll give up a couple. So if you want to take the bullpen out of it, I completely agree about that. I think Pirates could be up at the end of 5 innings in this game, maybe like a 2-1 score or something in that neighborhood, maybe 1-0. I think that's definitely a possibility here. So yeah, I'm with you on that under in the first 5. I look at the Pirates' first 5 innings in this game here as well, with Paul Skenes on the mound. Getting over to the next game on the schedule, let's go over to the St. Louis Cardinals. They are in Cincinnati for this matchup. Seeing conflicting pitchers here. So one, I'm seeing it'll be Matthew Liberatore, and then another I am seeing a Palante for the Cardinals. But FanDuel has Palante listed, and Reds pitching will be Frankie Montas, that's for sure. But the Reds are a minus 116 home favorite here. Minus 102 on the money line for the Cardinals in this game. Total is at 9.5 here, Scott. What are your thoughts on the Cardinals and the Reds?
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean to the Reds here. I think we all expected the Reds to be a decent team this season, maybe not a playoff team, but we thought they would be better than they actually are. However, they've been good recently. They were able to sweep the Dodgers. They were able to win the series opener against the Cardinals. I do think Montas and Liberatore are kind of similar in the sense that you don't really like either of them, but I do think based on current form, I would lean to the Reds. So it's basically a pick 'em line. I agree with it. I'll link to Cincinnati,
Yeah, Frankie Montas, I know, hasn't been too bad at home for the Reds. Yeah, I'm not sure I trust this Cardinals team. I know Mal's holding that ticket for the Cardinals to finish last in the NL Central Division, but take a look at Montas' numbers. I mean, on the season, 2-3 with a 4.61 ERA, 5 starts at Cincinnati in Great American Ballpark there. He's 1-2 with a 3.04 ERA. Coming off a rough start against the Padres, he did get a 4 earned runs, 6 innings in that matchup. I think the part that makes me nervous is that he hasn't really gotten the run support for the last 4 starts as well that he's made. And unfortunately, the Reds have lost all the last 4 starts that he's made for the Cincinnati Reds. But I don't know. This Cardinals team, I think offensively, they've been very limited. Pitching hasn't really been there outside of maybe Sonny Gray, who also we've seen him struggle a little bit as well. So I'll take the cheaper price here on the Reds as well on the money line. Getting over to the next game on the card, we'll go over to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are in Arlington to take on the Rangers. I'm seeing Ryan Nelson getting the start here for the Diamondbacks, and I don't see a pitcher listed just yet. Let me check another website for the Rangers side. So I'm seeing Andrew Heaney may get the start here for the Rangers in this game. Looking at the lines here, the Rangers are a -122 home favorite, plus 104 on the money line for the Diamondbacks here. Scott, total is 9.
Yeah, I feel like even though both pitchers aren't very good, I'm going to have to lean to the over in general, but I think to at least acknowledge that the Rangers aren't very good. Let's start there, because right now they are 4 under. And they did win their last game against Minnesota, but they were on a massive losing streak before that. Before the game against the Twins, the series finale there, they ended up losing 6 straight. And if you want to go back even further, I mean, they have been in complete freefall. They'd lost 12 of their last 14, I believe. And then they were able to finally win a game against the Twins in the series finale. So, yeah, Texas has been awful. And yet they're in second place. It tells you how bad the AL West is this season, but I think I'm going to lean to Arizona at plus money. I really just want nothing to do with the Rangers right now. So I'm going to lean to Arizona. I don't feel great about it. I'll lean to the over, but when a team's lost 12 of 14 and they're laying about 120 or 125, I'll pass. Give me the other team. I'll take Arizona at plus money.
Yeah, Ryan Nelson's been a guy that I want to fade when he's pitching in Arizona at Chase Field. If you look at his splits, it's really mind-boggling to see how bad he's been at home. But on the road, he's been pretty good for this Diamondbacks pitching rotation. I think he has a 3-point ERA in 3 starts. 3 starts on the road, 1-1. Coming off a really good start against the Dodgers, 5 shutout innings. He only allowed 5 hits in that game, 5 strikeouts. So, and this Rangers team is really complete the opposite of what they were doing last season offensively. I just saw they put Evan Carter on the IL as well, so they've been missing a lot of guys on the offensive side. I think this is a good spot here for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And in fact, if it is Andrew Heaney who's on the mound here for this Rangers start, the Diamondbacks have been one of the best teams against left-handed pitching for the season long. I know they've cooled off a little bit over the last 2 weeks here, but I think it's an opportunity for them to kind of get back hitting well against left-handed pitching. So I'll go with the Diamondbacks here with Ryan Nelson on the mound against the Texas Rangers.
By the way, there is a chance that Dane Dunning pitches for Texas tomorrow.
Okay.
So that might be Dunning. If it is, to go through his numbers, he's been mediocre. 4.43 ERA, 1.18 whip. So it's not like technically going to be a threat to throw out an absolute like ace or anything like that. I just feel like you're looking at a spot where, regardless of whether it's Heaney or whether it's going to be Dunning, I just don't want anything to do with Texas. Pitcher's kind of irrelevant at this point for me.
Yeah. All right, before we get over to the next game on the schedule for the Wednesday card in the MLB, let me tell everyone about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Hey, look, we're getting ever so closer to the NBA Finals. And our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. Make entries of all basketball or mix and match across your other favorite sports, and you can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. New customers get a pick'em special in the lobby when they do sign up. Underdog will also be running a ton of different promos bonus cash airdrop specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and Canada. They also just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. So sign up with promo code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit bonus. Offer up to $250 bonus cash. Again, that's underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you guys use that promo code MLB SGPN. All right, let's get it rolling here, or keep it rolling here for the next game on the schedule. We'll go to the West Coast. Let's go with the Philadelphia Phillies. They are in San Francisco to take on the Giants here. I'm seeing Christopher Sanchez get the start here for the Phillies, and it'll be Kyle Harrison for the San Francisco Giants. Giants are a home underdog at plus 116 in this matchup, minus 136 for the Phillies. Total is to that 7.5 in this game here. Scott, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to lean to the Giants here, getting plus money. They've been in great form recently. We saw them win the opener despite Snell's best efforts to pitch terribly. But they got the job done in that one. I think you're looking at a spot there where the Giants are just underrated. They have won 5 of their last 6. They've won 9 of their last 11. It's been really good, simply put. So they're over 500 again. Philly has Sanchez on the mound, who has really not been good on the road this season. His home numbers are solid. Road numbers are not very good. But I do think you're looking at a potentially undervalued Giants team based on current form. I'm going to go with the Giants in this spot.
Yeah. Has not been very good on the road. 0-2 with a 4.63 ERA and 5 starts. Did have a really good outing against Colorado in his last start. But he's been really good at home. And again, in this spot, like you mentioned, Giants have been playing some really good baseball. They've had some come from behind victories. They took care of business in game 1 against the Phillies. And I think Kyle Harrison also coming off the worst start of the season against the New York Mets. 5 innings, 4 earned runs in over 6 hits. 2 home runs he did give up in that game, but he's a guy that I can trust. In San Francisco there. So, and over his last 5 starts, he's been absolutely great as well. 2-0 with a 3.67 ERA. So, I think there's some nice plus odds here for in this game. Getting over to the next matchup on the schedule here. Let's go over to Citi Field. The LA Dodgers are in town in Citi Field to take on the New York Mets. I'm seeing James Paxton get the start here for the LA Dodgers, and it'll be David Peterson for the New York Mets. Dodgers are a minus 138 road favorite here, plus 118 on the money line for the Mets here, Scott. Total is at 8.5 in this game. What are your thoughts on the Dodgers and the reeling Dodgers, I should say, taking on the Mets?
Yeah, they've been in terrible form. They are down 2-0 right now, but I do think that this line is a bit too cheap against Peterson, who has not pitched yet this season. So you got a guy making his season debut who I think we'd agree over his career, not great. I think he's fine, not great. Paxton was really bad against the Reds over the weekend, but they are still pretty good in his starts. He's 5-0 so far this season. So I think I am in only to the Dodgers here. I just think 130 is a bit cheap for the clearly better team. But it's mostly wanting to fade Peterson, who has not pitched a single game yet this season, and I think it's a good price. So give me the Dodgers at minus 130, give or take.
Yeah, typically the spot to fade any pitchers when they're usually making their season debuts, I think, or making starts this late in the season. We've seen that with some of the other pitchers, right? Blake Snell got a late start. Jordan Montgomery is another name that got off to a rough start because he, wasn't ready and hadn't signed with a team, frankly, until almost the season started with the Arizona Diamondbacks. But James Paxton has been okay. I know he's coming off 2 bad starts. It was against the Reds. Maybe they just have his number. But this would be, I think, north of maybe 150, maybe 160 if the Dodgers weren't struggling at the moment. So like you mentioned, this is a cheap price for them. Maybe look at a Dodgers team total over. I know they've been struggling offensively, which is crazy to say after their top 3 guys with Freeman, Ohtani, and Betts. And some of the guys have been injured towards the bottom of that lineup there for the Dodgers, but I think this might be an opportunity going up against a guy that's making his first start of the season for them to really get to him maybe early and often here. So once they do start winning games, you're probably not going to see a minus 138 price for a Dodgers team, whether it's at home or obviously whether it is on the road here in this case. So yeah, Dodgers for me here as well. Team total over within the first 5 innings. That would be something I would be definitely interested in for this game. Let's get to the next game on the schedule here. We'll go over to San Diego. The Miami Marlins are in town to take on the Padres. Currently seeing Braxton Garrett getting the start here for the Miami Marlins. It'll be Yu Darvish for the San Diego Padres. Padres are a minus 172 home favorite, plus 144 on the money line for the Marlins. Total is at 7.5 in this game here. Scott, what are your thoughts on the Marlins and the Padres?
Yeah, it's pretty tricky because Garrett hasn't really pitched much of the season. He's been mediocre, I guess, since he came back from injury. Darvish has been very good. The Yankees did well against him, but the Yankees are also an elite offense compared to Miami. I think Darvish bounces back, but I'm trying to figure out the value here. I might be tempted by the under in this game. Both teams have really not been hitting recently, so I think you might see a lower scoring matchup. Maybe if you just pick Darvish to have a good game, you want to go Padres first 5, maybe minus a half there. I don't mind it, but yeah, I think that the under might be the way to go here. I think that the pitchers can possess some problems for the opposing offenses. The bullpens have been okay. San Diego's bullpen's actually been solid recently, especially with Suarez being their closer, who's been very good. But I think you're looking at potentially a lower scoring game. I'm going to lean to the under in this matchup.
So Braxton Garrett is coming off a complete game shutout against the Diamondbacks. Those are typically spots I want to fade a pitcher coming off those complete games. And I think this might just be the spot for it. I know Yu Darvish, just prior to the Yankees start, in his last start, he was absolutely lights out. And like you mentioned, the Yankees offense has been clicking on all cylinders, especially over the last couple of weeks here. So, I mean, there's going to be a time where Yu Darvish was going to come back down to earth, and he did in his last start where he gave up 7 earned runs to the Yankees. But I think it's a fade of me just kind of fading, or a fade of Braxton Garrett just coming off of that complete game shutout. And those are typically tricky spots for those pitchers. So I don't want to lay the minus 170 plus price here. So if you want to look at a team total in the first 5 innings, maybe they get to them early, do the Padres. Maybe they get 3 runs within the first 5 innings and maybe cruise a little bit after that. I do expect Yu Darvish to bounce back here. So if you want to look at the run line here for the Padres and a team total over, couldn't talk you off of that for this game between the Marlins and the Padres. Getting over to the next game on the schedule, let's go over back to the East Coast. We got an AL East battle between the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Cutter Crawford taking the mound here for the Red Sox, and it'll be Corbin Burnes for the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles are a minus 174 home favorite, plus 146 on the money line for the Boston Red Sox. Total is set at 7.5 in this game here. Scott, what are your thoughts on Cutter Crawford and Burnes?
Yeah, Crawford's been very good this season, just based on his overall numbers. Burnes been solid too. Crawford, though, a lot of his good numbers were front-loaded. He was great for his first couple starts, and then recently has been kind of falling back down to earth, which was expected, but I have to at least point it out. His road numbers are very good this season, but for example, Crawford has allowed at least 4 earned in 2 of his last 4 starts. The Red Sox have actually lost each of his last 4 starts by multiple runs. So give me the Orioles minus 1.5 here. I think Boston is a team that we agree has been a bit overachieving so far this season, at least based on paper. Baltimore's a better team as far as I'm concerned. They buried Boston in the first game of the series. I think they'll win this game by multiple runs. Give me Boston to lose by potentially a rout. So give me the Orioles minus 1.5.
Yeah, both these pitchers have already faced the opposition this season. Corbin Burnes was great. He went 7 innings, 2 hits allowed, only 1 earned run. I believe was a solo home run that he did give up in that game against the Red Sox. But he's been fantastic in Camden Yards. 2-1 this season in 7 starts, a 1.99 ERA. He's only allowed 9 earned runs in 40 2/3 innings pitched. And you mentioned it, right? Cutter Crawford, beginning of the season was absolutely fantastic. And just for his last 5 starts, he has a 4.66 ERA. And his ERA on the season is only 2.89. So that just tells you how dominant he was prior to his, I guess, coming back down to earth here, or regressing back to the mean. Run support hasn't been there for him over his last 4 games as well from the Red Sox. 3 of those 4 games, they only scored 2 runs in those starts. So I think that Corbin Burnes will more than likely repeat the performance that he did have against his Red Sox team earlier this season. So If you want to look at a strikeout prop, maybe for Corbin Burns or a team total under for the Red Sox, Scott mentioned it. You want to probably look at the run line here. That number's at plus 126. And that's a great price there for Corbin Burns against his Red Sox team. So couldn't talk you off of that. All right, Scott, before we do get over to the next game on the schedule here, let me tell everyone about the newest sponsor on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. That is going to be Rhythm. If you're betting, on NBA playoffs and player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning our algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks as well. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll through a sports book. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA model. You can get AI-backed money line, spread, and total picks for every playoff game. Start a free 7-day trial and start winning with your NBA player props with Rhythm. Available wherever you do get your apps. All right, let's keep it rolling here, Scott. Next game on the schedule, we'll go over to the Oakland A's. They are in St. Petersburg to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm seeing, I think it's Joe Estes or John Estes. I forgot it is for the Oakland A's. I don't see a pitcher listed for the Rays just yet. Let me double check another site for the Rays. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to end up being a bullpen game. I'm seeing Ryan Pepio getting the start here, possibly for them, and it's Joey, I should say, for the Oakland A's. So, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Getting to the lines here for this game, the Rays are also a minus 174 home favorite, plus 146 on the money line for the Oakland A's. Total is set at 8.5 in this game here. Scott, what are your thoughts on the A's and the Rays?
Yeah, the Rays are the better team, even though both teams have been underwhelming this season. Oakland's been better than we anticipated. But I think Tampa is definitely the better team. So the question is, do I want the run line or do I should go for a total play instead? I'm kind of on the fence on which I prefer, but I do think if I had to go with an angle, I would pick Tampa in the drop. Probably minus 1.5. Oakland, despite being 11 under, is currently 8 under on the road. So they're significantly worse on the road. Pepe, it's been fine so far this season, 3.98 ERA. Stes, I don't think is very good. So give me the Rays minus 1.5 at the drop.
Yeah, I like the over. I mean, you mentioned it. I think that, again, Estes has been absolutely terrible, to say the least. He's allowed 12 earned runs over his last 2 starts. 8 of them did come against the Houston Astros, and the starts that he has made in the 3 thus far this season, all 3 of those games have seen at least 9 runs or more. So, and again, Ryan Pepio, he's up as well, at least over his last 2 starts. He's allowed 3 earned runs each over his last 2 starts and hasn't made it past the 4th inning in any of those 2 starts. At home at the Trop, he's 1-2 with a 5.65 ERA, allowing 18 earned runs in 2/3 innings pitched. So, yeah, I think he gives up a few. But if you go to first 5 over, I think that's worth a look as well. If you want to go Rays team total over, couldn't talk you off of that. Full game over as well, 8.5 in this game. So I do expect to see runs being put up in this game between the A's and the Rays. Next game on the schedule, over to a NL East battle between the Nationals and the Braves. For the Nationals, I am seeing Mackenzie Gore getting the start here for the Washington Nationals, and it'll be Spencer Schwellenbach for the Atlanta Braves. Braves are a minus 162 home favorite, plus 136 on the money line for the Nationals. Total is set at 8.5 in this game. Talked about the struggles for the Dodgers. I think Braves are starting into that category here as well. Scott, obviously no Ronald Acuna Jr. For the rest of this year, probably for the early part of next season as well. But a team that has been struggling a little bit here. But what are your thoughts on the Nationals and the Braves?
Yeah, I'll go with the Nationals here. I know Atlanta is using a relatively unknown pitcher, so unknown that ESPN does not even have a picture for the guy. But I think Gore's been good so far this season. So you're going to give me Gore plus 130. I do think that's definitely worth something. We know Gore is definitely, I'd say, vulnerable to allowing stolen bases, but Acuna's out. So that's going to be a big plus for Washington. I do like the Nationals in the spot. We saw them bury the Braves in the series opener. But I do think you're looking at Atlanta, once again, going through a bit of a transitional period with Duvall starting every day instead of Acuna. He's good against lefties, so maybe Duvall has a good game. But the Nationals, I do think, have been a feisty bunch for the entire season, which is code word for they're not very good, but they try really hard. So they're able to surprise some teams. But yeah, Gore's, I think, a solid pitcher. So give me the Nationals a plus 130.
Yeah, they did get the series game 1 victory on on Monday, I believe. In that game, they got out early against Charlie. I believe it was Charlie Morton last night, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. He gave up 4 earned runs in the first, and it was 6-0 in the favor of the Nationals by the end of the 3 innings. So I wasn't sure what to do with this game. Again, maybe there's some value on the Nationals here. Maybe we do see some runs being put up in this game again as well. I lean towards the over, but I don't want to lay a minus 162 price right now with the Braves, especially with a guy that we really don't have a lot of information on. I think he's making his first start, if I'm not mistaken, for this Braves team. But yeah, that's where I'm at with this game. All right, next game on the schedule, we'll go over to an NL Central battle. Chicago Cubs, they are in Milwaukee to take on the Brewers. Shota Imanaga on the mound here for the Cubbies, and for the Brewers to be Bryce Wilson. Cubs minus 134 on the money line, plus 114 for the Brewers. Total is at 7.5 in this game here. Scott, what are your thoughts on the Cubs and the Brewers?
Yeah, I have a hard time going against Imanaga, even though the Cubs have been in bad form recently. I want to take him in some capacity. I got to figure out how I want to do so, because the Cubs offensively have not been great recently either. So maybe I might have to buy an under in this game, but in reality, I know Wilson can have some walk issues, and I do think the Cubs can get guys on base. I think I'm going to go with Cubs first 5 here, maybe first 5 minus a half, but Wilson's been good. He's been consistent. The issue is he really goes no length. He's gone less than 5 2/3 in 3 straight, less than 5 innings in 2 of the last 3. And he has walked at least one guy, and I think every start this season. So the point is, I do think the Cubs can generate something in this game, at least offensively. So I think you're looking at a spot. By the way, to go through the actual numbers, Wilson has walked at least one guy in 6 straight starts, at least 2 walks in 4 of his last 6. So I think you're looking at the Cubs potentially getting at least 1 or 2 runs across. I have a hard time going against Imanaga, though. He's just been that good so far this season. Give me the Cubs first 5.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't talk you off an under in this game either. And it's also because Imanaga has been absolutely fantastic. But in his starts this season, the Cubs are 8-1 straight up. They are 5-4 against the run line. The under is actually 6-2-1. The under has cashed in 4 straight games when he's on the mound here. Those 4 games have combined 9 runs put up in those games. So it was the Mets, the Padres, the Braves, and then the Pirates in the last 4 starts that Imanaga's been on the mound for this Cubs team. 9 combined runs in 4 starts. So, yeah, I like the under. If you want to look at first 5 under, or you want to go full game under, it is at 7.5. Bryce Wilson has been pretty good at home in 3 starts and 5 appearances, 2.50 ERA. He's only allowed 5 earned runs in 18 innings pitched. And you mentioned that he does struggle keeping men off of base via the walk. And he also has given up a home run in 3 straight starts as well to the opposition. But yeah, I like the under in this game at 7.5. Lean to the Cubs here as well. But yeah, I'm more fair play again on the under between these 2 squads. Next game on the schedule here, we'll go over to the AL Central. The Kansas City Royals, they are in Minnesota to take on the Twins. Seth Lugo on the mound here for the Royals, and I am seeing Bailey Oberg in the start here for the Minnesota Twins. Twins are a let me get back to the page here. Twins are where the Twins go? Minus 122 on the money line, plus 104 for the Royals. Total 7.5 in this game here, Scott. Seth Lugo has been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm going to have to lean to Kansas City. I don't see much separating these teams. Minnesota did a good job of getting to Marsh in the first game of the series, and they won that game comfortably. Ober's been fine, but I think we all know that Lugo this season has been the much better pitcher, and I do think that Ober might be in a line to struggle. He has been good at home this season, though, 2.57 ERA, but his last couple of outings, he has not been as sharp. Last 2 outings, 9 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. So we'll see how he looks, but I think for this one, I'm going to lean to a first 5 under. I think Lugo and Ober pitch well. I think Lugo's going to go probably 6 innings, giving up 1 run or so. So I don't mind the Kansas City getting plus money here, but I have to acknowledge Ober has been good. Also not going much length, though. He has gone less than 5 1/3 and 3 of the last 4. So I don't mind the first 5 under in this matchup.
Yeah, I couldn't talk about for full game under either. First 5 under. I think if you like the Royals side, you may just want to look at the minus 1.5 because all 8 victories that the Royals have gotten when Seth Lugo's on the mound have been by 2+ runs. 8-3 straight up in his starts, 8-3 on the run line in those victories as well. So you could get some really, really nice plus odds. And, like you mentioned, Bailey Ober has been pretty good at home. He did get blown up by this Royals team in a start earlier this season. 1 1/3 inning. He allowed 8 earned runs, 3 home runs he gave up in that game. So I think you're getting some good odds here on the Royals here with Seth Lugo, who's been absolutely lights out for this Royals team. So yeah, give me the Royals here. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on there, minus 1.5. You probably have to find an alternate. You actually can get on FanDuel right now. Minus 1.5 right now is plus 168 for the Kansas City Royals. So those are some really good odds there for the Royals. All right, let's keep it rolling here, Scott. Next game on the schedule, we'll go over to the Toronto Blue Jays. They are in Chicago to take on the White Sox. Alek Manoah getting the start here for the Blue Jays, and it'll be Chris Sexton, I believe, for the Chicago White Sox. Blue Jays, a minus 178 road favorite here, plus 150 on the money line for the White Sox. Total is 8.5 in this game here, Scott. I know how bad the White Sox are, but I did not anticipate seeing where Alek Manoah would be a minus 178 road favorite.
Yeah, it's a bit weird for Manoah. So far this season, he's 1-2, but his ERA is below 4, and Flexen has been the worst pitcher out of the two of them. To go through Manoah's last couple outings, he ended up going 7 innings, no earned against the Twins, 3 runs overall, but none of them earned. Then 7 innings, no runs against the Rays, gave up 1 hit. So back-to-back insane starts. And then against Detroit, he got killed. 4 2/3, 6 runs, 4 earned. But I think the main thing that I've noticed is that his home numbers are insane, and his road numbers are horrible. So I think for this one, I got to lean to the over. White Sox team total over potentially, and I don't mind the White Sox potentially on the money line in this game. But Manoah's numbers this year at home, 0 ERA in 14 innings. On the road, 8 2/3, 10.38 ERA. So with home road splits that alarming, and with him being on the road here, give me the plus money, but I think I prefer the over. Maybe a White Sox team total over in this game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what sticks out from Manoah, right? It's the home and road splits, and I don't in particular want to lay that minus 178 price with Manoah. So either you go with the White Sox on the money line or first 5 innings run line, or you just look at the over in this game or a White Sox team total over as well. Flexen at home has not been very good either. He's 6.49 ERA. He's allowed at least 3 earned runs over his last 3 starts. He hasn't made it to the 5th inning in any of those starts. And the White Sox have lost 4 of the last 5 starts he's made. So I think runs is where you do want to go in this game between the Blue Jays and the White Sox. Next game on the schedule, let's go over to Coors Field. The Cleveland Guardians are in town to take on the Rockies. Logan Allen getting the start here for the Guardians. It'll be Ty Blodge for the Colorado Rockies. Rockies are a plus 132 home underdog, minus 156 on the money line for the Guardians. Total set at 10.5 in this game. Scott, what are your thoughts on the Guardians and the Rockies?
Yeah, I have a hard time with Logan Allen because I feel like he's either really bad or really good, and there's like no in between. So I kind of have a hard time of trying to pick a pitcher who is I'd say a master of both extremes. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the sake of this matchup, it's pretty tricky to tell if there's any value on the Guardians at this number. I think based on how I'm looking at this matchup, Blatch has been more to Allen. Allen's 6-2, but his ERA is around 4.9, and Blatch's numbers technically better base ERA, but he has been pretty good at home this season. I feel like the story for Blatch is that on the road he's awful, and at home he's good. So I might actually lean to the Rockies here. I think the Rockies might have some value at this price, and I feel like people might get distracted by the win-loss record for Allen. But you're looking at Blatch's numbers. On the road, 7.71 ERA. At home, 3.48 ERA. And to go through the last couple of outings for Blatch, he got shelled against the Giants, who are one of the hottest teams in the league. But if you look at all the other starts, 6 2/3, 2 runs, 5 innings, 1 run against the Rangers. Ended up going 4 innings, no runs against the Marlins. He's been pretty good besides one bad outing recently against the Giants, which have kind of skewed his numbers. I don't mind Blatch. I think Blatch has actually been decent. Give me the Rockies plus money.
Yeah, the fact that Ty Blatch has been really good at home at Coors Field, I think that's pretty telling. He was able to limit the Phillies' offense to only 2 earned runs in 6 2/3. Those were 2 solo home runs that he did give up. But Logan Allen, he's been good on the road, but I mean, can you trust him in Coors Field? Eventually, we start seeing runs being scored in Coors Field. We're getting into the summer months and the temperatures rising and things like that. But he's been a very tricky pony, like you mentioned. Now the Guardians have won 3 straight starts that he's been out there for the Guardians, but I don't know, man. I think that he may just be a here at -150. I kind of get uncomfortable with that. So maybe, if you want to take a look at the +1.5, maybe cop out a little bit there. It is -111 for the Colorado Rockies, but again, there's an opportunity there where, again, +1.5 could be a spot for the Colorado Rockies. Getting over to the next game on the schedule here, we'll go over to your New York Yankees. They are in Anaheim to take on the Angels. Lewis Hill on the Yankees, and be Tyler Anderson on the mound for the Angels. Yankees are a -194 road favorite here, +162 on the money line for the Angels. Total set at 8.5 in this game here. What are your thoughts on the Yankees and the Angels?
Yeah, Heel's been incredible. I think he might have a serious shot at Rookie of the Year. He's been that good. I can't believe he's still a rookie. I swear I've seen him in the majors for like 2-3 years already, but I know that's what service time does. The Angels are horrible at home. They're 6-19 at home. I think the Yankees are going to win this game. The point is, though, Anderson has been very solid in general this season with a 2.52 ERA. 8.5 feels massive for a total here. I like the under. Anderson's gone 15 innings, 2 total runs allowed in his last 2 starts. He's been really good, and Heel's been good too. 8.5, I think, crazy. Give me the under.
Yeah, 5-0 with a .59 ERA for Lewis Hill. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. Those are some Rookie of the Year, possibly even Cy Young, dare I say it, for him. But look, Tyler Anderson, like you mentioned, he's been really good as well at Anaheim in Angel Stadium. He's 2-1 with a 2.92 ERA. Is there a spot maybe where he does implode? Could it be against his Yankees offense? Possibly. But I would probably just look at the Yankees here, -1.5 on the run line. I think that at a point where that maybe Tyler Anderson does come back down to earth here a little bit, but you get all 9 at bats with the Yankees. You have Lewis Hill on the mound, who's just been absolutely incredible, like we mentioned, and Angels, you mentioned at home, 6-19, not very good. So yeah, give me the Yankees here on the run line, -1.5. Last game on the schedule here, Scott, we'll go over to Seattle. The Houston Astros, they are in Seattle to take on the Mariners. Justin Verlander on the mound here for the Astros, and it'll be George Kirby on the mound here for the Mariners. Mariners are a -116 home favorite, -102 on the money line for the Astros. Total set at 7 in this game here. Scott, what are your thoughts on the Astros? And
I think I got to lean to the Mariners here. It's really a tough call, but Verlander, we know, is still fine, but he's definitely not as good as he used to be. Kirby, though, I thought would be very good this year, and so far this year, he hasn't been great. So I'm kind of perplexed with both pitchers right now. What I do know is that Seattle's good at home. They're 16-10 at home, while Houston has been pretty underwhelming everywhere, not just home, but also on the road. So I think I'm going to lean to Kirby at a pretty decent price. I think you're looking at Seattle, once again, being a solid home team. Houston has been overvalued the entire season, and they're not very good on the road. I'll lean to Seattle. It's really not a strong opinion. I'm not going to bet this game, but give me a close, lower scoring game. But I think Seattle eventually breaks through and wins this game like 3-2.
Yeah, excuse me. Both of these pitchers have really good history against the opposition. Verlander has actually won 9 out of his last 10 starts against his Mariners team. He did face them last season when he came back to the Astros. 8 shutout innings. He only allowed 1 earned run. Over his last 4 starts against the Mariners, he allowed exactly just 1 earned run. He's gone at least 7 innings in all 4 of those games. And George Kirby, he did face his Astros team earlier this season. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, and he's been absolutely brilliant at T-Mobile Park, if they still call it there, in Seattle. 4-1 with a 2-point in his career against the Astros in 4 appearances dating back to 2022. 1-0 with a 1.59 ERA. So first 5 innings under would be a great look in this game here. Probably get that at 3.5. Full game, I'm not going to go there because, again, the Astros bullpen could come up and give up 5 earned runs within the span of an inning, and your over is absolutely blown in that spot. So first 5 under, aside, yeah, I mean, this could be a game where Verlander does maybe implode and give up a couple runs early, and Seattle's just able to ride the coattail of George Kirby in this game. So minus 116 would be the way I look on this Mariners team against the Astros. But we've got some pretty good pitching matchups for sure on Wednesday on the card here. All right, so that is the last game that has betting lines available right now as we're recording this for the Wednesday card here, Scott. So let's get into our lock and dog, and then we can wrap up the show, my man. You want to lead us off?
Yeah, for the lock, I mentioned it before, but I'll go back to it. Give me the under in the Yankees game at 8.5. I can't believe it's at 8.5 with Heel against Anderson. Both pitchers have been really good, and they've been really good recently. So there's no reason for me to think that one of these pitchers, if not both, are going to totally implode. If one of these teams breaks through offensively and scores 5, I still like my chances because that involves the other team scoring 4. So I think 8.5 is just too high. Give me the under at minus 102. I see on FanDuel as the best price there. That'll be my lock. For my dog, I actually liked a decent amount of dogs on the card today. The White Sox are a bit too bold for me because that involves backing the White Sox, which I don't think I can actually do. I think for the sake of this episode, it's either going to be the Rockies or it's going to be the Nationals. I think I got to take the Nationals. It's plus 136. The Braves are using a relatively unknown pitcher. Acuna's out, and you're looking at Gore, who's been very good this season. We saw the Nationals dominate the first game of this series. So give me the Nationals at plus 136.
There you go. All right, for my lock, I'm gonna go with the Royals, man. It's plus 104 on the money line. Seth Lugo has been absolutely brilliant. I think he continues dominance against this weak lineup of the Minnesota Twins. Talked about a start Bailey Ober against the Royals earlier this season, where he did get blasted. I know he's been really good at home, but this Royals offense, especially led by Bobby Witt Jr., has been just firing on all cylinders. So I do think that they can get to Bailey Ober here. Seth Lugo, I think, can continue being lights out as he has been over his past several starts. So Royals on the money line plus 104. I would expect this to move to a possible minus price and the odds evening out a little bit here in this game. So if you're able to get that plus price right now on FanDuel, it is plus 104 for the Royals. I will take that as my lock. For my dog, there were some intriguing run line prices. Orioles were one. I think that really interest me. Yeah, I think I'll go with them. Give me the Orioles on the run line minus 1.5 plus one. What was it plus 134? I said where they go plus 126. Corbin Burns has been absolutely fantastic at Camden Yards. He had a brilliant start in 7 innings against the Red Sox earlier this season. Cutter Crawford, you mentioned it, that it was really end of the season where he's absolutely brilliant for this Red Sox team and has kind of regressed back to the mean negatively over the past several starts. I know he had a good start against the Orioles, but on the road, he's kind of been up and down. So I do think this is a spot for the Orioles to continue dominating against his Red Sox team. I'm on the run line here, minus 1.5 plus 126. as my dog for the day. That White Sox there, they really are tempting, but yeah, I'm gonna stay away from that though. All right, that's gonna wrap it up here for this excuse me edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast. Scott, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
No, not really. Once again, a lot of games tomorrow. Hopefully, we make some money.
Yeah, hopefully we did give out some winners here. We'll be back at the usual time for the MLB pod on Wednesday for the Thursday games. I think it'll be myself and Dylan to go through the Thursday card. I know Thursday are usually a shorter card. I haven't looked ahead yet, but yeah, some really good matchups on Wednesday, so I'm definitely excited to watch these. Make sure you guys follow Scott on Twitter. That's at Reichel Radio. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. More importantly, if you haven't already subscribed to the MLB Gambling Podcast X account or the YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. And we're also on Instagram as well. That's going to be MLB_gambling_podcast on Instagram. So give us a follow there as well. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.